This is a second thought video made possible by Skillshare, who kindly chose to sponsor this episode. Or was it predetermined? Either way, be one of the first 1,000 people to sign up for Skillshare using the link below, and get your first 2 months for just 99 cents. We humans are an interesting species, capable of understanding incredibly complex ideas about the laws of the universe, yet somehow thinking we operate outside those laws. We're talking, as you probably already gathered, about the notion of free will. The idea that I can do something simply because I want to do it. It makes sense on the surface. I certainly feel like I made the decision to sleep in this morning, but is that really the case? There are a few different schools of thought. We'll start with what's called libertarian free will. Libertarians, not to be confused with political libertarians, believe that free will is incompatible with a deterministic universe, and that agents have free will. Therefore, determinism, the idea that everything has a past cause, must be false. This idea is pretty appealing to most people, because we like to imagine that everything we do is a conscious decision that we make. Go to class? You made that decision. Skip class? Also your decision. Every action you take is an action initiated by you and your conscious brain, decided upon out of many possible options. It makes sense, right? At any moment, you could choose to throw your phone across the room, or raise your hands in the air, or perform any other action available to you. That idea of having a choice is critical to both libertarian free will and determinism. This is the part where I make a joke about both political libertarianism and libertarian free will not being grounded in reality. Not really, just kidding. At least about politics. Because while many of us would probably say we feel free to make whatever decisions we choose, we would also probably agree that everything that happens in the natural world has a cause and effect. If you saw a football flying through the air, you would assume it had been thrown or kicked. This is the underlying belief in the school of thought known as determinism. The idea that everything that happens has been caused by past events, making any other option impossible. In other words, there is no choice in the matter. If you held a gun to my head and told me to do something, would you consider my action to be made freely? Probably not. The gun in this analogy can be anything: past experiences, your genetics, a phobia, social norms, or any combination of factors leading you to choose your action, or rather take that action, since it wouldn't really be a free choice. And that's where we run into our problem. We can't really hold both of these beliefs at the same time. Or can we? This is where a third school of thought comes in. Compatibilism is the idea that free will and determinism are not mutually exclusive, and defines free will as a freedom to act according to your own motives without arbitrary interference from others. One example of this is in courts of law, when a judge has to make a decision about whether an individual acted of their own free will under a specific set of circumstances. It's assumed that the person on trial could have acted differently than they did, which is why they're on trial in the first place. The basic idea of compatibilism is that a person may be free to act according to their own motives, but those motives are determined. One famous quote claims, "Man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills." This is evidenced by an experiment by Benjamin Libet, in which he hooked up subjects to an EEG and asked them to perform a simple action like pushing a button as soon as they were aware of the wish or urge to act. The results showed that there was always a period of time preceding the subject's conscious decision to act that indicated the brain had already made an unconscious decision. As of 2008, further studies had shown that the upcoming outcome of such a test could be found in brain activity up to 7 seconds before the subject was aware of a conscious urge to perform the action. But let's go back to the court of law. If we truly are subject to these unconscious pre-decisions, can we be held morally responsible for our actions? One prime example of this dilemma can be found in the case of Charles Whitman, a sniper who killed 16 people and wounded 31 others from the top of a tower at the University of Texas in Austin. Whitman left a note saying he didn't understand why he was committing these horrible crimes, and to perform an autopsy to figure out what was wrong with him after he died. Sure enough, the autopsy revealed a tumor that many suspected to have pressed against the portion of his brain that controlled his emotions and led to his violent actions. In this case, Whitman was not forced by any other person to commit violent crimes, but neither was he truly acting of his own unimpaired volition. He could not will what he willed. What do we do with cases like this? Extreme medical cases aside, most compatibilists suggest that we should be able to take credit for our good actions and blame for our bad ones. As long as a person is free from outside coercion, they have freedom of action, the highest degree of free will conceivable under compatibilism. Whether we're aware of it or not, we are all subject to these unconscious drivers silently guiding us to take the path we choose. If you wake up and decide you're going to have ice cream for breakfast, that idea didn't just come out of nowhere. Your brain had made that decision long before you were aware of it. So, what do we do? If we're all just biological robots driven by unknown causes, what does that mean for humanity? Maybe nothing. The world will continue as it always has, people making decisions and taking actions that they feel are their own ideas. And maybe that's all we need to know. What do you think? Are we all just biological cogs in a deterministic machine, or do we have some semblance of control over our motives and actions? Or is all of this just nonsense and doesn't matter at all and everything is pointless? Whatever your thoughts on the matter, you should choose to visit Skillshare and start learning an awesome new skill to take your mind off the meaningless void of existence. Skillshare is an online learning community for creators, featuring over 17,000 classes in graphic design, animation, photography, and more that could help you learn a new skill, or even start a YouTube channel like I did. A premium membership from Skillshare is more affordable than most other online learning platforms, and gives you unlimited access to amazing classes from experts working in their fields, so you can improve your skills, unlock new opportunities, and do the work you love. As a special offer for Second Thought fans, you can get your first 2 months for just 99 cents when you sign up using the link below. To support Second Thought and start learning amazing new skills, be sure to visit Skillshare today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and click the little bell to be notified every time a new Second Thought video is released. While you're here, check out these playlists of other great content. And if you really want to support the channel and get a behind-the-scenes look at Second Thought, check out our Patreon page. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.